A vlog like this is never going to be easy to make. It's always going to be difficult. In some ways, I feel like I just did this because last month, Chaz's cat, Koth, passed away. And that was difficult, but Koth is not my cat. So in a way, it feels like I haven't made a vlog quite like this since Sagan passed away, over 4 years ago. But even that is different. Sagan passed away very suddenly. It was unexpected. Whereas with Rocko, we have watched him age. He's had some health issues for a few years. And also we've watched him getting older, and especially in the past few months, getting older more quickly. So it wasn't a surprise to know that he was going to pass. When I was there in Myrtle Beach 2 weeks ago visiting, I was visiting unrelated to Rocko. I had made plans to visit in May a while ago. And as I was getting closer, to that trip, my parents had told me, they said, Rocko is declining. Like, obviously he's been in decline. He's old, but like it's happening a little more quickly. And I said, okay. So when I got there, I got a chance to see him myself and to spend time with him. And I'm so grateful for that time, but also I could tell at the time, I was like, he's going to pass. And it was really nice to be able to spend time with him, because that was not something that I had planned for. But being there was really nice. And I got to spend a lot of time petting him. I took some photos with him. I just got to cuddle with him a little bit. It was really nice. And I got to spend some time with my family around him too, which was a unique experience and one I'm going to value. And honestly, there's some moments I think I'll probably remember forever. But he was old, and he passed today. It's not unexpected, When I saw him 2 weeks ago, I knew that it was coming, and after I had, come back to Raleigh, my parents have kept me updated, and he had continued to decline. He passed away at home today, just curled up on the couch. It was peaceful, and I'm grateful for that. I want to take today to talk about Rocko, obviously. I want to talk a little bit about his origins for two reasons. For one, he predates the vlog by 3 or more years, and I want to talk a little bit about that because maybe I've never told the origin stories of him before and how we got them and all that. And then also to just talk a little bit about his life because, for like our more modern audience who hasn't been watching for 15 years, they may be a little less familiar with Rocko because, our lives starting in 2012 really revolved around Sagan and Kepler. But the first few years of the vlog are, the cat on the vlog, the animal on the vlog is Rocko. So I want to talk a bit about him today. Prior to Rocko, my family had a cat named Mittens. And Mittens was several years old when I was born, probably like 3 to 5 years old. And, so from the time that I was around, like Mittens was an adult cat. Mittens she was a sweet girl, but also she liked her family and no one else. She was a bit of a prissy queen, and if you were not part of the family, she didn't like you. She hissed at you. She swatted at you. She just liked us, and she was sweet. She passed away in February 2005, a month before I turned 16, 17? 16. 16, okay. Sorry. I'm old. Yeah, she passed away a month before my 16th birthday. And after she passed, we didn't have an animal in the house for a year, which was hard since, for my entire life, Mittens had been with us. We'd always had a cat. And after a year had passed, I told my mom, I said, I'd like to have another cat in the house. I said, but also, I never got to experience a kitten. Since Mittens was several years old by the time that I came along, I've never experienced what a kitten is like. So, July 23rd, 2006, we went up to Cattails, which is a cat adoption agency it's in North Carolina. It's in Sunset Beach or Holden Beach. It's not far over the South Carolina line into North Carolina. It's also where we got Sagan and Kepler several years later, so it's the same place. We went there. Actually, it was a Sunday afternoon. Seth was with us. Seth has been on the vlog before. He was with us that day. We brought a pet carrier, and we had went into this room. It was just full of kittens. There's kittens everywhere, and we'd put the pet carrier down on the ground, and we were just kind of interacting with all these various kittens. And Cattails is good people, and they make you sign a thing that's like, hey, you're gonna take care of this kitten, and if for any reason, anything happens, please bring the kitten back. We will take care of it. We will find it a home, all that. So we were looking at all these kittens, and one of them crawled in the carrier and laid down. And we were looking at all these kittens, and there was this one that was just in the carrier. And I was like, that's our cat. That one. You hear these stories about people saying that their animals picked them, and this was literally that. Rocko climbed in the cage to go home with us, so we took him home. His name at the shelter was Leo. I had been thinking about a pet name, and I really liked Rocko. And so we renamed him from Leo to Rocko. I think he was 8 weeks old. He was born in late May 2006. And he was a joy. He was so different from Mittens. Rocko was the most humble cat I had ever met. He didn't have an attitude. He didn't care what you did. You could pick him up, you could hold him upside, up on his back like a baby. You could hold him for an indefinite period of time. He just loved to be around people. Purred and purred and purred. Just such a happy cat. And it was that experience with Rocko that really kind of showed me how drastically different cat personalities can be. And I always feel bad whenever I hear from someone that I don't like cats, because I'm just thinking, that's fine, but I'm also wondering if you just haven't met the right cat. I know some people have bad experiences with cats, where a cat scratches them or hisses at them, and I hate that, because there are cats out there like Rocko who are, literally the most good-natured cat I've ever seen in my life. Just incredible animal. And, we fell in love with him immediately. I went digging around for photos because, again, like, the vlog starts in late 2009. So if you're looking for vlog footage, yeah, there's stuff that starts when he's 3. But if you want to go and see him before that, I have to like look through photos, and finding those photos are hard because they're old. They're very old. But I found, I think, the first photo I have of him. This probably would have been maybe the day we got him, quite possibly. He is just a tiny little fella. Just a tiny little guy. And we got him in July 2006, so I would be 17. I was 17 years old when I got him. I found some other photos too, just some various things. I found some photos of his first Christmas. So just photos from Christmas 2006, basically. It's really sweet to discover those and find those. We had the little Santa hat on him and everything. He was adorable. And I found, a few other photos or whatnot. Rocko was a sweet boy. He slept on my bed when I was, after we got him, he wanted to sleep on my bed. He wanted to be around me. Like, he was, for all intents and purposes, my cat. But I got Rocko in July 2006, and it would only be a little over a year later that I went off to college. So even though, I had adopted Rocko and he was my cat, like, I only had him for a year. And certainly I was back from college a fair bit. SCAD is on a quarter system, so I went to school, 30 weeks a year, 10 weeks and then break, 10 weeks break, whatever. And, I spent a lot of time with him whenever I was home, but like when I wasn't home, he wasn't my cat. He was my parents' cat. And I think something that I grew to realize was that not only, were my parents taking care of him, he was my parents' cat, but like my parents needed Rocko because as an only child, and especially like with my parents not having any other family at all, like that lives anywhere near them, it was hard for them. Like, it was really legitimately hard for my parents, especially my mom, when I went off to college. And I've always been a fairly independent person, so going off to college was fine for me, but it was really, really hard on my parents, especially my mom. And I think Rocko really, really helped both of them because it was someone else in the house that they could take care of. And, over the years, I went through college and I was home and I spent time with Rocko, and it was really nice to be home and be with him. And then in 2011, Rocko is 5 years old, I get married. Me and Mao get married, and we moved to Columbia, South Carolina. And then, we're not even around here. And it's true that we were only there for a year, and then we moved back to Myrtle Beach, but that was in 2012, and that's when we adopted Sagan and Kepler. So at that point, those animals, my boys, took over my time and attention. They were my animals. They were living in my home. And, my parents were the ones that took care of Rocko. So it's something that as I've gotten older, and I think that appreciation has continued to build. My parents needed Rocko. Like, they needed him. My parents needed him because Rocko was a transition for my parents from me going from, my youth into adulthood. I got Rocko when I was 17. Rocko just passed and I'm 35. And me making that jump from being at home and doing high school to going to college and then getting married and living on my own, like that's a struggle for my parents. It's a real big struggle for my mom. And Rocko has been there to help them with that for 18 years. And I'm not going to lie, I'm sad that Rocko passed. I loved him very, very much. I spent a great deal of time with him when I was home. But I think the thing that I'm most sad about is my parents. They really, really adored him. Really adored him. And it's super evident. Like, you can watch any video with them interacting with him, and like, it's so clear. Both of my parents have always been animal people, especially my dad. My dad is a huge animal person. And, even just like hearing from 2 weeks ago where they were talking about like how they prepare his bed for him, and they would heat up his bed every night before putting him on it. And, my mom would wake up early in the morning and like rub him down with a wet washcloth. Like, they always went above and beyond for pets in our home, for Mittens and for Rocko. And they always made it very clear to me that like pets are members of the family. A pet is an animal, but a pet relies on you. Like, you are your pet's entire world. And both of them like really firmly believed that and instilled that in me. And that has been one of the reasons that, I approach the care for Sagan and Kepler like I do, is because like, yeah, they're family. Like, full stop. Like, when we adopted Sagan and Kepler, like, Mal and I made the decision, like, no matter what happens, we will take care of these animals, like, no matter what. And that was my parents too. And I just know that it has been real hard for them. And again, like, I'm sad about him, but I think that there's actually a deeper sadness for my parents, because I think that this is going to be very, 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 very hard on them. Yeah. He was a sweet boy. I loved him very much. He brought a lot of joy into my life. He allowed me to experience a kitten for the first time. He allowed me to experience an extremely well-natured cat for the first time. And he helped my parents have something to care for and love, and have something at home when I was gone. And I know that has meant so much to them. Yeah. Okay. That's it. He will be very missed. He was a sweet, sweet cat. And I'm so grateful that he gave my parents 18 years. Like, what an absolute treasure. I really am glad that he has been around this whole time. It's been really, really nice. Okay, I'm done. Otherwise I'll just sit here and ramble. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow.